From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, October the 29th, 2019. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the Jewish Agency Board of Governors meeting in Jerusalem last night, pledging to fight against the rise of anti-Semitism around the world. Netanyahu said the Jewish state has responsibility for Jewish communities around the world, saying, "I intend to pass a budget to protect the Jewish community from the violent scourge of anti-Semitism." Blue and White Party leader Benny Gantz addressed the Board of Governors today, pledging to fight for pluralism in the Jewish state, specifically referring to the egalitarian prayer section at Robinson's Arch in Jerusalem's Old City, which remains stalled. Gantz said, "We are part of a colorful mosaic, and as Prime Minister, I will nurture this mosaic. I will implement the Western Wall Agreement. The Western Wall is long enough for all of us together." Blue and White later today, by the way, announced that their negotiating team will meet with Likud's team on Thursday to continue talks towards a unity government. Israel's Kan public broadcaster reported that Israeli embassies have increased security out of concern that Iran could be preparing to target Israel or Israeli targets outside of Israel, saying that the Islamic Republic was emboldened by the attack on Saudi Arabian oil installations last month and was now more aggressive than before. Democratic presidential hopeful Bernie Sanders addressed the J Street conference yesterday in Washington, saying he was proud to be Jewish and supports Israel, but had some very harsh words and accusations against Israeli government policies.
It is not anti-Semitism to say that the Netanyahu government has been racist.
Sanders also said that some of the aid given by the U.S. to Israel should be given to the Palestinians in Gaza, and that U.S. aid to Israel should be used as leverage.
We have a right to say to the Israeli government that the United States of America and our taxpayers and our people believe in human rights. We believe in democracy. We will not accept authoritarianism or racism, and we demand that the Israeli government sit down with the Palestinian people and negotiate an agreement that works for all parties.
Former Vice President and presidential hopeful Joe Biden taped a video message for J Street where he urged a two-state solution, defended Israel's right to defend itself, criticized Israel for settlement activity, and criticized the Palestinians for supporting terror.
And we can't give up, no matter how hard the work ahead's going to be. Nor should we ever forget that Israelis wake up every morning facing an existential threat from their neighbors in the region, and they live each day with tremendous courage, but also anxiety. That's why we always have to be adamant that Israel must be able to defend itself. But as all of us know so well, we can't be afraid to tell the truth to our closest friends. Any step that takes us further from a path toward peace has to be condemned. And the Palestinian people need to step up too. No support for terrorists. Stop violent attacks on Israel.
Jewish Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer spoke to the far-left Jewish organization as well, sharing his support for two states, his fear that the security of the State of Israel, which has always been a bipartisan issue, is now being exploited for partisan gain, and of the importance of giving young people a critical perspective on Israel's struggles and history.
Israel is strong. The Jewish people are successful. So the dangers don't appear as clear as they once did. Now, this is very understandable. Many didn't live through the crucible of the creation of Israel, nor the several existential threats, wars, and invasions that followed. One can learn this from a history book, but living through it is a different thing. We must not lose sight of our hopes, the hopes for a safe and secure Israel. And for me, the only solution I see is two states living side by side in peace.
A number of swastikas were found on the campus of Smith College in Massachusetts. Local police are investigating a total of 8 of the Nazi symbols drawn with permanent marker across the Northampton campus last week. In a letter to students, staff, and faculty, Smith President Kathleen McCartney called the vandalism an act of hatred and cowardice. And 2 U.S. senators are teaming up to fight anti-Semitism. Jackie Rosen announced on Sunday, on the first anniversary of the Tree of Life shooting, that she, a Jewish Democrat from Nevada, was partnering with James Lankford, a Christian Republican from Oklahoma, to create a bipartisan task force for combating anti-Semitism. Rosen said, "We are calling on our colleagues to set aside the labels, the bickering, and the grandstanding to join together to take on one of the most disturbing trends of our time." Rosen and Lankford will be collaborating with the House version of the task force to work across chambers and party lines to fight hate. Jewish Hollywood producer Robert Evans has died. Evans was behind a number of classic films like The Godfather 1 and 2, Rosemary's Baby, and Love Story. Evans died on Sunday at the age of 89. Hebrew Union College has a new leader. Andrew Rayfeld was inaugurated Sunday. He is the first non-rabbi to serve as president of the Reform Movement's rabbinical school. Rayfeld, a former political science professor who led the Jewish Federation of St. Louis, succeeds Rabbi Aaron Painkin, who died in a plane crash last year. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Tuesday, October the 29th. At 7 o'clock, it's the premiere of the JBS series Israel Briefing with Benjamin Anthony, who is joined by former IDF Chief of Staff and former Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon, discussing the history of the Jewish state and Israeli policy and security issues. At 8, it's a panel discussion on objective journalism when covering the Jewish community and Israel. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Yossi Klein Halevi on L'chaim. At 10, security experts discuss how the world should respond to acts of Islamist terror. And coming up right after this newscast, it's the ILTV's Election Arena. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, October the 29th, 2019. I'm Teisha Bader.